thoughts on silver? I do want to touch on gold and silver. So silver, obviously, there's a recent chart that's been going around about China importing the most amount of silver that it's imported in a long time. Obviously, the bull thesis is that silver is a byproduct out of these mines, there's hardly any pure silver mines out there, and the demand for silver continues to rise. And so, curious in your thoughts on silver, and are you bullish on it? Let's just ask that.
Okay, so silver is an industrial metal today. Unlike gold. So gold is not a commodity. Gold is a monetary metal. So back to silver. What's the leading industrial use case for silver today?
Solar panels.
Right. Did you know that China's going to install far less solar panels in 26 than it did in 25?
No, I did not know that.
Here's why. China's grid is run on coal. Coal is not very dispatchable. It's baseload, but it's not dispatchable. And the amount of solar that China has installed in its grid is beginning to overwhelm its dispatchable power, i.e. hydro, natural gas. It doesn't have much in the way of natural gas. China's dispatchability is hydro. And so suddenly, in 2026, looks like it's going to be as much as 30 or 40% fewer solar panels installed in China this year than last year. And industrial metals are flow analyses. So the market cleared last year, and you had this blow off top at the beginning of the year, above $100. A lot of stuck longs at that price. A lot of people who got in the euphoria. And so when I look at silver today in the 70s, and I see a deceleration of growth in solar, especially in China, I wonder why China would be importing. And again, we talked about China being a black box. Just because you see it on Twitter doesn't mean it's true. We can do the calculation, and we've wrote about it, and it'll be an example in the book we're writing. You could see a year ago that China couldn't sustain solar at these rates. Is the bullish case for silver really there? So that's my answer on silver.
Okay, yeah, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, because I was thinking about, obviously, silver is an industrial. Historically, it's had monetary implications for it, and so or monetary uses. And I was kind of wondering about India, because it seems like in India they still use silver as a store of value. Gold as a store of value and such. And so, but it does seem like the industrial side has taken the narrative. The monetary side is hardly even talked about outside of like stackers and equity investors and such. But I think that's a significant, way smaller than the industrial side.
Look, I think if you're interested in a monetary metal, just buy gold. And in fact, I would venture a guess that in India, gold is far more popular than silver. And so because silver is an industrial metal, which is how I started my answer, it's no different than buying copper. You buy it for the industry fundamentals, and I just gave you a bear case for the industry fundamentals of silver that you won't find on Twitter. That's our view. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so any thoughts on gold? I mean, obviously, many of us buy gold as a store of value to preserve our purchasing power. Any thoughts on how the metal's been performing, or is that something that you're...
Yeah, it's been inversely proportional to war in the Middle East. So when it looks like the war is going to kick off, gold tanks, and when it looks like peace is going to break out, gold rallies. We find that interesting. We have a simple explanation for that, which is that the Gulf countries own a lot of gold. And if they can't sell their oil, they have to sell their gold. And so, if the war were to end tomorrow, hopefully, because I own a lot of gold, we'd see it rally. That is the one thing I do own in size, is gold. And, since I buy it every month with some of my savings, if it goes down, I'll just buy more ounces. But I would like for it to go up. And so, yeah, I'd like for the war to end.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, and then just before we wrap up, we used to talk a lot about uranium and such, and so I got to get an update on your thoughts there on
Sure.
uranium.
Uranium's a commodity. A couple of differences between uranium and oil that make it more attractive. If you're looking for reasons to make uranium more attractive than copper or oil or silver or the other commodities we've discussed, one is that the price of uranium could double or triple from here and nobody would care because the impact on electricity prices is de minimis. Fuel is a very small input into the operation of a nuclear power plant compared to, say, natural gas or oil. You feel that at the pump immediately when oil doubles. Not so much with uranium. And then also you have the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, which is a totally legal attempt to corner the market in uranium. And you don't have that in these other markets, at least not that we can see. You know, the Hunt brothers tried to do it in silver. And so because you have Sprott gobbling up incremental supply, that makes it behave differently than most commodities. Having said all of that, would we own it? No. But it's not a space we follow, and so it's not like we have the expertise to time it either.
Okay, got it. Well, Doomberg, appreciate you for coming on the show and giving us your thoughts and updating us on a variety of your publications. So you all be sure to go to Doomberg.com to check out these publications and really, I think it's important that we challenge our own thesis, you know.
Sure.
And I think that's some of the value that you all bring.
Appreciate the opportunity, Daryl, and talk again soon.
All right, talk soon. You all please hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed yet. Love to have your support, and thank you all for watching.